Everyone knows about the infamous Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
100%.
it's because it was such a big deal around that time. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but just like the entire thing, like it was everywhere. And here's just some key details before we begin. So, the trial was held in Virginia from April 11th to June 1st, 2022. Ruled on allegations of defamation between formerly married Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and the trial was filmed and live streamed, which contributed to the online frenzy surrounding the case.
Before we get further into it, welcome to the AAA podcast, not in relation to the company. I'm Abby.
I'm Aaliyah.
I'm Audrey.
And today we'll answer the questions: how did the media cover the Depp v. Heard trial, and how did it change throughout the years? And how did the trial change the topic of domestic violence, and how were the people involved impacted?
So first, let's go over the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard lore. There's a lot to unpack, which will tell us how they got into suing each other for defamation in the first place. So Amber Heard and Johnny Depp met in 2009 during the filming of The Rum Diary. They started dating in 2012, the same year Depp ended his 14-year relationship with Vanessa Paradis, and the same year Heard's ex-girlfriend Tasya Van Ree ended their 4-year relationship. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard got married February 3rd, 2015 and filed for divorce in May 2016 before finalizing it in January 13th, 2017. And this is where things are going down. In 2016, Heard made a public appearance at a courthouse with a bruise on her face where news outlets were prepared with cameras. Heard said in a sworn declaration that, quote, "During the entirety of our relationship, Johnny Depp has been verbally and physically abusive to me," end quote, and claimed that he threw a phone at her that left her bruised. The police didn't press her charges. In 2018, Heard wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post that stated she, quote, "became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and she felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out," end quote. Although she didn't say Depp's name, it was heavily implied. In 2019, Depp sued Heard for defamation, seeking $50 million in damages. He claimed that the Post article was actually a ruse and that Heard was actually not a victim of domestic violence, but the perpetrator. In 2020, a British newspaper called The Sun labeled Depp as a wife beater, fully taking the side of Amber Heard, and a libel trial was held in the UK over this, as Depp ended up suing the executive editor of the newspaper and The Sun's parent company, News Group Newspapers. Paradis, Johnny Depp's ex, defended him. She said that he's quote, "the farthest thing from a violent person." Depp claimed that Heard actually had multiple affairs during the entirety of their relationship, and that she had put her own feces in their bed and was physically violent towards him.
I remember that.
A judge sided with The Sun in November of 2020, resulting in Depp being asked to resign from his role as Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts and let off from a lot of other Warner Bros. Projects. In 2021, Heard countersued Depp for defamation for $100 million, and on April 11th of 2022, the infamous Depp v. Heard trial began in Fairfax, Virginia.
Yeah, so Johnny Depp's lawyers, this is where the trial begins. Johnny Depp's lawyers claimed Heard made up domestic abuse accusations against Depp, probably because Depp was asking for a divorce from Heard, and they further claimed that Heard was the actual abuser in the relationship. The lawyers also accused Heard of staging her injury, the bruised face, since Depp hadn't seen her since May 21st of 2016, and she had the bruised face on May 27th, which witnesses did not see her have a bruise between those 2 dates. So they discussed how Heard was, according to Depp, physically violent towards him, and claimed that she hit him, caused him to lose the tip of his finger. Heard made claims of Depp being abusive to her as well, showing videos and audio recordings of him slamming cabinets, yelling, and a couple of other stuff where he was audibly drunk and under the influence. Amber was questioned many times for why she kept taking photos of him sleeping and passed out, claiming it was because she cared about him, that he was a monster, quote, when he was impaired from the drugs. And lawyers representing Heard claimed that Depp abused Heard both physically and sexually throughout their relationship, and she claimed that it was usually caused by his addiction to alcohol and drugs. They also claimed that Depp sought to humiliate Heard and ruin her career with the lawsuit turning the case into a soap opera. And a couple of the allegations from Depp was about Heard drinking wine every day, getting violent, and trashing his home, and defecating on his bed before going to the Coachella. So they argued that Heard's accusations online in the op-ed were protected by the First Amendment, and that the article didn't specifically say Depp's name, although Depp's lawyers say that it was implied. They say it wasn't Heard who ruined his career, but his drinking and drug use. What was the media saying?
What was the media saying? So, what was the media saying about all of this? Throughout the media, bias changed to be more in favor of Depp. Many skits involved making fun of Heard and the lawyer she hired. I don't know if you guys remember that my dog gets stepped on by a bee.
My dog stepped on a bee.
My dog stepped on a bee.
The trial gave Johnny Depp more publicity and tanked Amber Heard's reputation. YouTubers and content creators began making videos reacting to the trial, which would gain millions of views. During the trial, Heard's lawyers claimed that Amber would use a particular makeup kit from Milani Cosmetics to cover bruises that were allegedly inflicted by Depp. That brand then went to TikTok, stating that Milani Cosmetics can confirm that the palette in question, the Milani Cosmetics Conceal and Perfect All-in-One Correcting Kit, did not launch until 2017. Heard and Depp's divorce was in 2016, not lining up with her story, which caused her team to look even worse in the public's eye for spreading misinformation. Amber Heard and Justice for Johnny Depp became a popular hashtag among apps such as TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. The trial was so big and separated on who would win. Some fast food chain drive-thrus had Depp v. Heard tip jars. And the court trial rolled on air as Depp's car drove through the courthouse gates, where fans would line up to cheer for him and give him gifts, while Amber's car was heavily booed, especially when she got out of the car.
They're very sweet.
Do you want to sit in front so I can eat? Or just a little bit?
Amber is facing the wrath of Depp's fans, who booed her as she left the courtroom in Virginia.
Amber Heard stated that she felt as though she was on trial in the court of public opinion after the immense amount of hate she received in public and online.
So the verdict, the final ruling of the jury, was that Heard's statements online about being sexually and physically abused were false, and they defamed Depp with actual malice and gave Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages from Heard. Although the punitive damages were reduced by the court to $350,000 due to a limit in Virginia state law. They also ruled that Depp had defamed Heard via Waldman, which was Depp's lawyer, who had made some false accusations about Heard, and they awarded Heard $2 million in compensatory damages and $0 in punitive damages from Depp.
In conclusion, the Depp v. Heard trial was publicized all over social media, in news outlets, and was even turned into a Netflix series after the trial ended. What some people saw as a domestic violence case was what others saw as a big internet sensation / meme, which has overall left a lasting impact on our culture as a whole. While the trial was ongoing, social media sites like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat were flooded with content relating to the trial and overall altering how the public viewed it. It wasn't viewed as a serious topic of discussion, and the truth of the Depp v. Heard trial was made less clear as it was sensationalized for clicks and views online.
What a doozy.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed. Hopefully this uncovered things you didn't know about the Depp v. Heard case.
Bye.
Bye.
Throughout the years, and how the trial.
I'm sorry.
Not physically. That one.
I don't think we can include this part. Attached to me.
Media sites like
TikTok.